440 is ready for the 79 Dodge Magnum. It's going to be fun putting it in there. This is just going to be a little wrap up of what we done to complete it. I'll say this, you guys tempted me. My arm was twisted. Wanted me to put better pistons in there, raise the compression. Wanted me to put a bumping camshaft. But I stuck to my guns. We left it as a stock RV motor. Actually, if it come out of an RV, doesn't it have an RV cam already in it? Technically speaking, we had in our minds a 440 that I paid $400 for, and a $100 transmission was going to make a $500 swap, and I was going to put a new water pump and a couple things like that on it. So yeah, you throw in change of an oil pan. I needed a car oil pan. We were hoping to get this done for roughly $700, but nope, it didn't happen. And it didn't happen because I didn't store it right. Because I didn't store it right, we had a piston that had rust in the cylinder. This one right up here is the only one. Yeah, there's a little bit of, I got to clean up in here. Here's the good news, guys. It's at the top of the cylinder. So I just got to get this in here. I don't know what it looks like on camera, but it's really just right up here. So we ended up taking the heads off, and I was just going to lap the valves, but I couldn't get that done. I had to take the heads off to get at the rust in the piston, pull the piston out. We honed that with our honer. Well, there was no saving the compression rings, so they came off in pieces. Used this to slide it around and clean the landings out. So I'll have to get a new set of rings for this one. And this is, my friends, why you store an engine properly. And we were able to go ahead and get the piston and new ring on that. And then we took the heads down to Anthony Lane, and he done up the heads, cut them 30 thousandths, put new valve springs, valve job. If you're just joining or just clicking on this channel for the first time, it's not a 600 horsepower build or anything of the sort. All we're doing is trying to put a 79 Magnum on the road, and we're using an RV 440 to do it. We are freshening up these heads. They're back from the machine shop. I just wanted to go over. So honestly, we ended up more in the heads than we did the entire engine and transmission. So anyways, we had a little over 700 into the heads. And we put the new timing chain, degreed, 2 degrees advanced. We used the Summit billet timing set, and you can go all the way to 8 degrees advanced, all the way to 8 degrees retarded on the timing. We went A2, means advanced 2 degrees, which you line up that A2 with the dot. So we're 2 degrees advanced, and that's how we're going to run this 440. We did soak this in 5W20 full synthetic oil for, oh man, it's been down here for a few days. So we pre-soaked this. We got our gasket on there with just a thin coat of RTV Max oil resistant silicone. We'll put the cover on real quick. Of course, we're going to put the new seal in. I usually used Indian head shellac on these. I don't have any down here at the moment, so I'm just going to put a thin coat of the Max oil resistant Permatex on there, and that'll do just fine. So we're going to get this inside there, and then we'll be set to bolt it on. See, the new one is real soft like that. See how soft that is? Look at the old one. Brittle. I go like that. Ooh, look. See how it splits? See that? See that? That's how we put a new one in. Then you can use your harmonic balancer to kind of slide that in there a little bit. to center this. And then you can go ahead and snug that up. I can drive that in even further. I'll have to use a puller to take it back off, but that's in there enough that it kind of centers the timing chain cover while it's loose, and then button it up. But it's ready. I had this Torker 440 Torker Edelbrock intake. It's a single plane. Not ideal for this engine in that heavy of a car, but you know what? I had it, I put it on there, and we'll just see what it does. I still got the original cast, dual plane if I decide to. And we're just gonna put on the intake real quick. A lot of people will use, you know, a regular gasket here, then the tin valley pan, then another gasket, or however you do it. I really don't care. Do yours how you want. I just gonna use the tin. I'm gonna run some Indian head shellac around the ports on each side of the tin. The factory just used regular tin gasket. I've used them before and not had a leak, so on the ends here I use this, and I put a little bit more in the corners. So let's get that done. Now we got the Edelbrock Torker 440 single plane bolted down. Probably not the right intake for this particular engine, but that's what we're gonna roll with. And now we're putting on our new Summit water pump. That's just slightly different from the original one. You can see, and I'm not so much worried about how this is shaped, except for this one here. If you measure them, which I did, they're only off about 1/8 of an inch. Yeah, a couple washers might take care of that. We're putting on the valve covers. They gave me the cork gaskets with the gasket kit. I really don't have much of a problem with cork gaskets. I like to use the Indian shellac on it. Seems like that shellac really complements the cork. Let's get the valve covers on. And there we have it. The whole top half of the motor is put on. Water pump. Now all that's left is the oil pan, and we'll get started with that. And before we put the oil pan on, we're going to replace that original felt rear main seal with a new one by Felpro. That's always a good idea. Easier to do it now than have a drip later. By all means is this not what I call a repaint motor, but just to make it look clean and help us see anything that might leak, and just to make it cleaner for a bit. This isn't a long-lasting paint job, but we went over it with a wire brush and on a wheel and a drill. Went over it with some brake cleaner, wiped it down with a rag with some cleaner, acetone. And we're going to throw a little bit of primer on it, and then some paint. And what we're using for the primer first is this Rust-Oleum engine primer. It's gray, resists up to 500 degrees. And we're going to go ahead and call that a Prime 440. And for paint, we got the Chrysler Hemi Orange by Duplicolor. Got the car oil pan on it. This should be ready to go, hopefully. Anyways, that's the wrap up. You guys said you wanted to see, when I first said, do you want to see what I'm going to do to it? This is not a rebuilt engine. It's not even a Craigslist spray paint rebuild. It's just, I painted it orange so it would look clean for my hand so I can touch it. And it'll look a little better inside there, but it's not rebuilt. It's a stock 440 out of a 77, 78 RV motorhome. So, all right, I appreciate you watching. We'll see what it does when it gets inside the car. No way of knowing until then.